I used to brush my fine hair over the thin spots and hope nobody noticed. That's the truth nobody says out loud. If you've got fine or thinning hair over 60, 3 specific shortcuts are about to change how you get ready every single morning. I'm talking about the exact styles that add visual density, the exact words to use with your stylist, and the exact reason each one works with thinning hair instead of against it. I researched the best haircuts and styling fixes for women over 60, so you get real answers, not guesswork. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The graduated pixie that tricks the eye into seeing density. Here's something most women never hear from their stylist. Fine hair doesn't actually get thinner as fast as you think it does. What changes first is the way light moves through it. Long fine strands lie flat and let the scalp show through in patches, and that's what reads as thinning, even when you haven't lost much hair at all. That's the part that stings a little, isn't it? You look in the mirror and you're sure it's worse than it is, but really it's the length working against you. The fix is a graduated pixie cut with the crown left slightly longer than the sides and back. Ask your stylist for this exact phrase. Point cutting through the top layers with a shorter, tapered nape. Point cutting removes weight from the ends without removing length evenly, which means each strand ends in a soft, textured tip instead of a blunt one. Blunt ends on fine hair clump together and look sparse. Textured ends separate and multiply visually, so 10 strands start reading like 20. Then there's the crown. This is where most fine hair pixies fail. A lot of stylists cut the crown the same length as the rest, which flattens the whole shape within a day. Instead, ask for root directional cutting at the crown, about a 1/4 inch of extra length left there, cut against the natural fall of the hair. That extra 1/4 inch, cut at the right angle, is what holds a soft lift at the root instead of collapsing by lunchtime. I heard from a woman who'd worn the same chin-length bob for 11 years, because she was terrified a pixie would make thinning hair more obvious. She finally tried this exact cut. She told me the first thing she noticed wasn't even the shape, it was that she stopped needing 3 different products just to get through a Tuesday morning. That's the real result here. When the cut is doing the volume work, you're not fighting your hair before 8 a.m. anymore. There's a second layer to why this specific pixie works, and it's about proportion, not just texture. Fine hair on a longer cut has to travel further from root to end, and gravity wins that fight every time, no matter how much mousse you use. A pixie shortens that distance dramatically. The hair simply doesn't have far enough to travel before gravity takes hold, so the lift you get in the morning is closer to the lift you still have at 4 p.m. Ask for one more specific detail while you're in the chair. Request that the sides be cut with a slight undercut, no more than 1/2 inch, blended rather than shaved to a hard line. This does something subtle but important. It removes bulk exactly where fine hair tends to look flattest against the head, right above the ear, without removing length up top where you want the visual fullness to sit. The result is a shape that looks fuller on top precisely because it's been made leaner underneath. Before this cut, length past the chin, flat crown, visible scalp part line under any overhead light. After this cut, graduated pixie root directional crown lift, textured point cut ends, soft blended undercut at the sides. Same woman, completely different first impression before she said a single word. But the pixie isn't right for every face or every lifestyle. And there's a second cut that solves a completely different problem. One that shows up the moment you try to grow anything out. Part 2. The textured bob that holds its shape between salon visits. Most women over 60 with fine hair have tried a bob at some point and quietly gone back to something longer within a year. Nobody talks about why that happens. It's not that the bob was wrong for them. It's that the bob they got was cut for someone with a different hair type entirely, and it simply couldn't hold up. A standard blunt bob is built for hair with natural body. On fine hair, that same blunt line does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. The weight collects right at the bottom edge, and a stiff, heavy line forms exactly where you don't want emphasis, right along the jaw, right where thinning is most visible in profile. You end up with something that looks less like a style, and more like hair that gave up partway through the day. The fix is a jaw-length textured bob with internal layering, not surface layering. Ask your stylist for this precise phrase. Internal layering carved from underneath, with the perimeter left slightly heavier for shape. This is the detail that changes everything. Internal layering removes weight from inside the hair, invisible from the outside, while the outer perimeter stays intact enough to hold a clean line. The result is a bob that keeps its shape without the heavy bottom edge that makes fine hair look thin. There's a second request that makes this bob genuinely low maintenance instead of just photograph ready. Ask for a slight forward graze at the ends, angled toward the chin rather than cut straight across. This is a small technical detail, maybe a 1/16 of an inch of angle, but it changes how the ends behave. Straight across ends on fine hair tend to flip outward unpredictably by midday. An ends cut with a forward graze naturally curves inward toward the face instead, which means the shape holds its intended direction even after you've run your fingers through it a dozen times without a mirror. I talked to a woman who described her old bob as something she had to rebuild every single morning with a round brush and 15 minutes she didn't have. After switching to this internally layered, forward grazed version, she said she was out the door in under 5 minutes most days, and the shape still looked finished by the time she got to lunch with her daughter. That 5-minute morning is the real win here, and it's worth sitting with for a second. When a cut is built around how fine hair actually behaves instead of fighting it, the maintenance drops dramatically, not because you're doing less, but because the cut is doing more of the work for you. There's one more piece to this bob that most women skip, and it's the one that keeps it looking intentional rather than accidental. Ask for a soft side part, cut at a slight diagonal rather than a hard straight line. A hard part on fine hair creates a stark line where the scalp shows clearly on both sides. A diagonal, softly textured part disguises that same amount of visible scalp, because the eye follows the angle instead of settling on a straight seam. Before this cut, blunt jaw length bob, heavy bottom edge, hard center part with visible scalp on both sides. After this cut, internally layered bob with a forward graze at the ends and a soft diagonal part. The transformation isn't dramatic on paper, but it changes an entire morning routine, and that matters more than most people admit. There's a third option though, for the woman who wants short hair but isn't ready to give up the softness of movement around her face. And this next one solves that exact tension. Part 3. The shag that adds movement without adding bulk. Here's a fact that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. Short shags were originally cut for thick, coarse hair back in the 70s, and for decades that meant stylists assumed the cut simply didn't work on fine hair. That assumption is outdated, and it's kept a lot of women away from a cut that, done correctly, is actually one of the best options fine hair has. The old version of the shag relied on heavy, choppy layering throughout, which on fine hair just creates gaps, not movement. If you've ever had a shag that looked more like uneven wisps than an actual style, that's why. The layering was too aggressive for the hair density it was cut into. The modern fix is a soft shag with micro-layering concentrated only at the top third of the head, left longer and smoother through the mid-lengths. Ask your stylist for this specific phrase. Micro-layering at the crown only, blended into a solid perimeter below. This keeps the layering exactly where fine hair needs the lift, at the root and crown, while leaving the rest of the hair with enough weight to actually swing and move instead of separating into thin pieces. The second piece of this cut is the fringe, and it's non-negotiable if you want the shag to actually read as youthful rather than dated. Ask for a curtain fringe, parted at the center and swept to both sides, blended into the top layers rather than cut as a separate blunt piece. A curtain fringe does something a full blunt fringe can't on fine hair. It frames the face with movement instead of a flat, heavy line sitting directly on the forehead. It also grows out gracefully, which matters when you're not visiting the salon every 4 weeks. A woman wrote to me describing her old shag as looking windblown in a bad way. Even indoors, even freshly styled. Once she switched to crown-only micro-layering with a properly blended curtain fringe, she said the biggest difference was that the movement finally looked deliberate. Not messy. Deliberate. That word, deliberate, is really the whole point of this cut. Fine hair that moves without direction reads as thin and tired. Fine hair that moves with a clear, intentional shape reads as styled, even effortless, even though there's real technical precision holding it together underneath. There's one more request that keeps this shag from collapsing by evening, and it's about where the weight line sits at the very ends. Ask for the perimeter to be cut with a slight inward curve rather than left completely straight. This subtle curve does the same job the forward graze did for the bob earlier. It gives the ends somewhere to settle that isn't simply flat against the neck, which keeps the whole silhouette from going limp by the time you're heading out for the evening. Before this cut, heavy all-over choppy layering, flat blunt fringe sitting directly on the forehead, thin wispy ends. After this cut, crown-only micro-layering, a softly blended curtain fringe, a gently curved perimeter that holds movement through the whole day. It's a completely different relationship with the mirror, and it starts with 3 specific words in the chair, not a vague request for something with layers. So which of these 3 actually fits your hair, your face, and the mornings you actually have? That's what ties everything together. Part 4. Choosing the right one for your face and your mornings. Here's something stylists rarely explain clearly, and it's the reason so many women pick the wrong one of these 3 cuts and end up disappointed within a month. It's not really about which style looks best in a photograph. It's about matching the cut to how much time you spend styling and what shape your face actually is, because the same 3 cuts that transform one woman's mornings can genuinely work against another woman's routine. Let's start with the Pixie from part 1. It's the lowest maintenance of the 3, hands down, but it demands the most from your salon visits. A Pixie with root directional crown lift starts to lose that lift within about 5 to 6 weeks as it grows out, faster than the other 2 cuts. If you can commit to a trim every 5 weeks, it rewards you daily. If your schedule realistically means 8 or 9 weeks between visits, the Pixie will frustrate you by week 6, and that frustration has nothing to do with whether the cut suits you. Face shape matters more here than most women expect, too. The graduated Pixie with the crown lift works beautifully on rounder or heart-shaped faces, because the height at the crown elongates things vertically. On a longer, narrower face, that same crown height can actually exaggerate length you don't want emphasized. For a longer face, the internally layered bob from part 2 is almost always the better match, because the horizontal width it creates at the jaw balances things out instead of adding to the vertical line. The bob also happens to be the most forgiving of the 3 when it comes to salon scheduling, because the shaping lives in the internal layers rather than a precise crown angle. It can comfortably stretch to 7 or 8 weeks between cuts without losing its structure the way the Pixie does. If your calendar is unpredictable, that flexibility alone might be the deciding factor, more than face shape, more than styling time. And then there's the shag from part 3, which sits in an interesting middle position. It needs slightly more daily styling time than the bob, usually 5 to 7 extra minutes with a round brush to encourage that crown-only lift and keep the curtain fringe swept correctly. But it grows out more gracefully than either the Pixie or the bob, because the curtain fringe is designed to blend as it lengthens rather than requiring a precise line be maintained. For a woman who wants more visual movement day to day, but doesn't want to be back in the chair every 5 weeks, the shag threads that particular needle. There's a real story behind why this matters so much, and it came from a woman who told me she'd chosen the Pixie purely because it looked the most dramatic in the photo her stylist showed her. Within 2 months she'd gone back to something longer, not because the cut looked wrong on her, but because her actual schedule couldn't support the 5-week maintenance it needed. She hadn't picked based on her life. She'd picked based on a picture. That's really the decision in front of you right now. Not which of these 3 looks best in isolation, but which one matches the actual rhythm of your weeks, your face shape, and how much time you genuinely want to spend at the mirror before you're out the door. Any of the 3, cut with the exact phrasing we've covered, will add real, lasting density to fine and thinning hair. The one that becomes your favorite is the one built around your real life, not a photograph. Before you decide, a Pixie chosen for drama, but abandoned within weeks for being high maintenance. After the right decision, whichever of these 3 actually fits your calendar, worn with confidence because it was chosen deliberately, not impulsively. You now know 3 specific shortcuts for fine, thinning hair, the exact phrasing to bring your stylist for each one, and how to actually pick between them based on your face and your real weekly schedule, not a photo you saved months ago. That's more clarity than most women get in years of salon visits. Tell me in the comments, which of these 3, the Pixie, the bob, or the shag, matches your mornings best right now. Next time, I'm covering the specific coloring techniques that make thinning hair look thicker without a single extra layer cut. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.